Time is now 6 p.m. I call this meeting of the Smith County Emergency Services District Number 2 to order and ask everyone to please silence their cell phones and any other devices that they might have. Certify there is a quorum present with Commissioner Domney, Commissioner Wilson, and myself. Absent is Commissioner Thornton and Commissioner Edwards. At this time, I'd ask everybody to stand for prayer and pledge of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today thanking you for the many blessings you've given us. Dear Lord, we just ask that you would watch over us as we conduct this meeting and things we do will be pleasing in your sight. We ask that you watch over our men and women who protect our citizens daily and just be with them and their families and uplift them and give them the strength and courage that they need to do the things that they do. Dear Lord, always we just thank you for all the blessings. These things in your Son Jesus' name we ask. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, thank you. All right. Item 3, recognition of guests and special presentations. I guess we really have any guests tonight that I know of. So anyway, we'll move on to item 4, which is public comment. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
We do. We have 3.
Okay. Can I?
First we have Chief Tate.
Okay. Chief Tate. I'd like to talk at the time the item's presented?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's up to the board.
Yeah. Is that all right with the board? No? Okay. I guess it's all right. Okay, you can do it.
Then we have Austin Pittman.
Okay. Austin Pittman. You'll have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I would like to start by making it clear that I planned on showing up wearing my uniform tonight. I've decided to forgo that opportunity as I need y'all to understand that these statements are my own and that they in no way represent the opinions of any of the volunteer fire departments. I'm speaking tonight to the issue of numerous alleged contract violations against Winona VFD and by extension the direction in which the ESD's relationship with the volunteer departments is headed. As I'm sure you are aware, the majority of the volunteer departments are holding out on signing your new contract, and I am of the opinion that it is because the contract is set up for the volunteer departments to fail. I believe that the disbandment of the individual VFDs would bring a great deal of satisfaction to some individuals within the ESD operational staff, and that the consolidation of control over assets and personnel is of paramount importance to the long-term vision and goals of ESD staff. I would like to make it known to the ESD Board of Commissioners, ESD personnel, and any residents that may be watching the live stream that these actions will come at a deep cost, a cost, frankly, that even the most impressive budgetary magic will not be able to fix. When I've been out to spend time with our district's paid crew at their station, it's commonplace to hear disparaging remarks about the volunteers and their disposition regarding the contractual relationship with the ESD. I could take the generalized opinions about us on the chin, but to hear the conversation turn to personal attacks against the Height brothers truly got under my skin. The Height brothers have been volunteering at Winona VFD for about 40 years each, longer than most Smith County firefighters have been alive. This contract that is up for consideration today will cost you men like David and Daniel Height, among many others. It is my belief that everyone here and the public alike should be thanking God for people like the Height brothers. I think it is known to everyone here that folks like them, like many of the longtime volunteers in this county, are a dying breed. People that are willing to show up during their time off of work or in the middle of the night just to do the right thing for nothing. Will not stick around just to be hit over the head with this contract. The human cost of this issue is one that, as a resident, I am not willing to pay, as your checkbook will not be able to cover it. I urge the board to consider this problem carefully and proceed with a great deal of due diligence as this contract renewal is reviewed. We all have more important issues at hand than wrestling over this contract, and the public deserves our effort better spent on providing the services that we were supposed to uphold. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Who's next?
We have John Briggs.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Tell us your name, sir.
Skripsik.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, my name is John Skripsik. I'm a property owner, taxpayer, and member of the Winona Volunteer Fire Department. These comments are my own and should be taken as such. I respectfully ask the board to consider placing the following 2 items on the next month's agenda per section 551.042B of the Open Meetings Act. Item number 1, costs of unnecessary expenditures. There have been ongoing vanity projects that waste taxpayer funds, such as custom embroidered seating for paid staff in ESD2 offices, costly rebranding of vehicles to remove community names, adding confusion as assets are rotated among stations, and building stations with excessive comforts beyond what the overwhelming majority of district residents have. There's no reason that the most lavish kitchen in an area should be in a firehouse that serves 4 to 6 firefighters. Item number 2 is the strained relationship between the ESD2 and the VFDs. Volunteer firefighters feel that the ESD leadership is moving towards eliminating VFDs for complete direct control over volunteers. If this is the plan, the ESD should at least state it on record in an open meeting. I would also like to address agenda item 17 on today's schedule, which is the contract review. I believe that we should table this with a 1-month continuation in order to review the contract, because 1 week is simply not enough time for yourselves or for the VFD chiefs to review this contract. I would also like to address agenda 18, the allegations against the volunteers of Winona Volunteer Fire Department. The ESD appears to forget that it was created to fill the role as a supplemental service when volunteers cannot respond. Penalizing volunteers for not responding during work hours is disrespectful and borders on insulting. We are dedicated, unpaid firefighters balancing day jobs, family responsibilities, and serving the community. We attend trainings, acquire certifications, and attend meetings during our evenings, nights, and weekends. After all, not everyone has a career that allows them to go to the gym, do their grocery shopping, and sleep on company time. Thank you.
Thank you. Have any more public comment?
No, we don't.
Okay. All right. Well, now we'll move on to item 5, which is our consent agenda. Discuss, consider, and take any necessary action related to the payment of accounts, bills, invoices, payroll requests for reimbursement, requests for other payments, transfer of funds, and amendments. And under 5.1 is our bills. And we'll take each one of them separately. And the total amount of that is $1,417,412.27.
Yeah, I don't have anything that, comment for any of those, so I'll make the motion that we'd approve to pay our bills under 5.1 in the amount of $1,417,412.27.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Dominic, we pay our bills in the amount of $1,417,412.27. Have a second?
I second.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 5.2 is our fuel credit card bill for TIFMAS deployment in the amount of $2,380.72. Yes, sir.
I want to distinguish this invoice. It didn't follow the prescribed procedure, and I mistakenly paid it without your approval, and I just wanted to make that distinction and bring it to your attention if it wasn't already.
Or was it paid by ACH, or how was it paid?
Through ACH, yes.
Automated payment?
Yeah. Okay. a motion to ratify that payment that's already been made for $2,380.72.
So made.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dominy, a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 5.3, district credit cards. And
If nobody has any comments to it, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the payment of the district credit cards in the amount of $24,207.42.
have a motion by Commissioner Dominy to pay the district credit cards in the amount of $24,207.42. To have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. Under 5.4 will be our contract payments in the amount of $68,527.15. I'd entertain a motion that we pay that.
Yeah, these are just our general bills, nothing outstanding in any of those, so I'll make the motion that we would pay item 5.4 in the amount of $68,527.15.
Have a motion by Commissioner Domley to pay our contract payments in the amount of $68,527.15. Have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. Under 5.5, it's for board information only, no action required, is our benefit payments for employee health care, dental and vision, and so forth. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas was $84,697.08, and employee dental and vision was $7,497.32. So that's all that was for information. Item number 6, approval of minutes, receive, discuss, and take any necessary action relating to the following reports. 6.1, minutes of the August 26, 2024 Board Commissioners Meeting.
Having reviewed those minutes, make the motion that we'd approve those as submitted minutes for the August 6, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Dominy that we approve the minutes of the August 26, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting. Have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. Item 7, Executive Director, and under 7.1 is Executive Director's Administrative and Financial Report.
As usual, I'll give you a few highlights, and number 1 would be that in this meeting today, we're going to approve of the official notice of election, where we're detailing some of the early voting and election day polling sites. We also have in this meeting's agenda the Jamestown RFP with attached contracts to be considered together with the less expensive proposal to establish some kind of station up there in the Jamestown area. We have on the September 16th, we approved the budget and the tax rates. So we have a new budget and a new tax rate in effect. We have in this meeting also, which Mr. Keith here will show you later on, as far as a reallocation of various line items in the budget. The bottom line stays the same, so it's not really a budget amendment, but rather a reallocation. And I'm pleased to say that there was a minimum need to use the contingency to achieve this, and there was zero need to dip into the ordinary transfers from operating to the capital funds. So short of a disaster happening in the last week now, we should look very good as far as the final actual versus budget is concerned. We have a new purchasing and payment policy for consideration in the board in this meeting, and all the commissioners have had an opportunity to review and provide feedback, and that feedback has been incorporated. And lastly, we we are preparing for a new audit to come up here. And we are considering this time to actually put it up for a request for proposal, to see if we can at least go out into the marketplace and make sure that the prices we are paying are commensurate where the market is. So that's all I have as far as highlights are concerned, and I am at your disposal for any questions.
I don't think I have any. Do you have any?
No, I read through your report, didn't have any comments. Thank you.
All right. All right, 7.2, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on the notice of election for Smith County Emergency Services District Number 2 for the purpose of electing a commissioner for Districts 1 and District 4. And this is something that is prescribed by the Secretary of State. It has to be done. It wasn't ready with all the polling places whenever we approved the rest of it, so we have to do this, and it also has to be posted in the Tyler paper, and it will be posted on our website. So, I'd ask for a motion to approve this and authorize the board president to sign where indicated, and the staff to post and publish the sign notice where prescribed.
Motion so made.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Domney, have a second? Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 7.3, discuss, consider, and take any action on proposed purchasing and payment policy for Smith County Emergency Services District Number 2. So, I think we've all had a chance to look at it, and staff recommends that we adopt a proposed purchasing and payment policy, which I think we've all had a chance to look at it and put our comments back and make what changes we needed. So I would entertain a motion that we adopt a purchasing and payment policy.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the proposed purchasing payment policy and recommend that board president and board treasurer be authorized to sign that policy as indicated.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Domney. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 7.4, discuss, consider, and take action on the annual review and adoption of Smith County ESD2's investment policy. The board is required to conduct an annual review and renewal of the district investment policy. So I think staff recommends that we do that.
It's essentially unchanged from
Yes, right. And that's because there were no change in the legislative requirements.
that, in addition to that.
Yes, okay. I'll entertain a motion on that.
So made.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Domney that we adopt the investment policy.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. Financial reports. Keith, I guess that'll be you.
Yeah, well, as Eric mentioned, we're going to have a budget realignment that will, actually is item number 9. And also, as he mentioned, unless something occurs in the last week of this fiscal year, we should be in pretty good shape unless something occurs within this last few weeks, or last 2 weeks of this fiscal year, we should be in good shape financially. We'll make all the budget allocations for our extraordinary and transfers to the capital accounts. And then, as also Eric shared, we will dip into the contingency, but not significantly, and we should be carrying some fund balance into fiscal year 2025. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have about any of those financial reports.
No, there's nothing that really changed from prior discussions. You know, it all comes down to a decrease in revenue from the sales tax, increase in overtime, and which are the two major ones that we have. And then, so we've managed to spend within our budget. So the end of the year is going to turn out exactly as forecast, right? And that's exactly as planned.
Well, indeed, yes, sir.
I would add that the best guess right now is that we will end up with a full year surplus of about $500,000.
So, and I know this is going to be the next item, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you the question now, is that looking at the forecast for year end, is there much of a chance that we're going to have to go back in and realign? I mean, we're estimating, right, the last 2 weeks?
We are estimating, I think we did about as scientific as we could. We had multiple conversations, and I touched base with all of our cost centers to see if there was any cost outstanding that we weren't weaving into this calculation. So I certainly hope there's not. I'm not going to say that there's not going to be, but I don't feel that there will be.
Good, so you've done your due diligence to make sure that we're.
We believe so,
Okay,
yes, sir.
good, thank you.
Okay. All right, we ready to move on to item 9 now?
Yes,
Is
sir.
the fiscal year 2024 budget reallocations. As the anticipated revenues and expenditures are expected to diverge from the original adopted budget. Staff requests the formal reallocation of budgeted funds from revenue and expenditure categories to other revenue and expenditure categories to better reflect the district's estimated actual revenue and expenditures for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. The proposed reallocations take into consideration the current total budget, actual revenues and expenditures, historical revenues and expenditures, and anticipated estimated revenues and expenditures through the end of the fiscal year, 2023-2024. So staff recommends that the board approve of the proposed formal reallocations for fiscal year 24 budgeted revenues and expenditures. I'll entertain a motion on that.
Well, I was just going to add, there's essentially two allocations, or two
Okay.
reallocations. There's the operating, which is the 116 lines, and then there's the real property, which is a small one. So as Mr. Dominici inquired, we did a lot of scrutiny on all of this and feel pretty comfortable with it.
Well, I'll make the motion that we approve the proposed formal reallocations for fiscal year 2024 budgeted revenues and expenses.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Domney, a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. So I guess we move on to item 10, which is the Director of Human Resources report, and Ms. Hernandez is sick, so she has her report here, and I would just ask that the board just read that report, and we don't have to go into it. And her human resources report, and plus workforce injuries, which is for discussion only.
Number 0.
Zero workforce injuries, which is great. 11 is our community outreach coordinator's report, and she had a family emergency, and she asked for us to move that down the agenda until she can get here. And so if it's all right with the board, we'll pass on that right now.
Okay.
Okay. 12, Assistant Executive Director's report on support services. Larry?
Commissioners, I don't have a whole lot to review with you. My report is in front of you. You'll notice a few more metrics as we continue to build out our metrics report. You'll notice that we're now reporting on SLAs. We're making a big push under all support services division to create new service level agreements for commitment times on response and resolution. So you'll start to see those numbers reported, and you should start seeing improvements on those numbers as we focus on that throughout the next budget year. The other two announcements that I have is Laura Barden has been promoted to facilities manager. An email will be going out later in this week. She successfully completed her classes as required, and very happy to have that work started. And additionally, Seth Meadows, our EBT, has completed and achieved his EBT2. So congratulations to him as well. Other than that, I'll be available for any questions the board may have.
I don't have any. Do you have any, Randy?
No.
Charles? Okay.
Everything's trending in the right direction.
Yep.
Very good, thank you.
12.2, discuss, consider, and take any action on repairing Chapel Hill Engine 136 DEF system at a cost of $3,065.81.
Commissioners, this would be a purchase that's done directly through the manufacturer of that apparatus, and it's a required purchase to keep this apparatus moving.
Did it just go out, or what? what was
I think it's the
deal on it?
mileage.
Mileage?
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
it's hit that time.
All right. I'll entertain a motion on that repair expenditure.
Make the motion, we purchase the replacement parts and repair the DEF system on Chapel Hill E-136 in the amount of $3,065.81.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Domney and a second by Commissioner Wilson that we purchase the repair for the DEF system on Chapel Hill Engine 136 from Spartan Dealer Metro Fire at a cost of $3,065.81. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 12.3, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on the emergency purchase made on August 30th to replace damaged equipment. Authorize payment to the vendor once the equipment is shipped. You wanna speak on that, Larry?
Yes, sir. Commissioners, this was for 2 microwave antennas that go on the troop tower. Subsequent to a lightning hit, both those pieces of equipment were destroyed. There is a chance that those will be covered under the manufacturer's warranty, but that takes some time. We ordered 2 replacement antennas after a conversation with 2 commissioners. So just needed to bring that back before you as an emergency purchase that occurred.
Okay. I will say that Larry did contact myself and the board treasurer before he made that purchase, and he was given authorization to do it. So this time I'll ask for ratification of that emergency purchase.
Make a motion that we ratify the emergency purchase for the 2 air fibers at the troop tower.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Domney. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 12.4, discuss, consider, and taking action on repairing multiple SCBA breathing air cylinders at a cost not to exceed $3,223.40.
Commissioners, our contracted vendor did the inspection on the air cylinders, found several that had minor issues. Those have been out of service. The quotes are in front of us to go ahead and get those repaired, and we ask that we go ahead and get that accomplished.
Make the motion that we allow staff to schedule Metro Fire Apparatus Specialties to perform the repairs. The attached quoted cost not to exceed $3,223.40.
Motion by Commissioner Domney to allow the staff to schedule Metro Fire Apparatus Specialties to perform the repairs on the attached quote at a cost not to exceed $3,223.40. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. 12.5, discuss, consider, and take any action on the next steps for the new station in Jamestown community. Okay.
Commissioners, this item is back in front of you today. We have the final contract and the RFP ready to post at this point in time. During the budgetary meetings and workshops that we held, there was some talk about moving forward with an alternative plan, looking at all options. You asked for additional numbers, and those are provided to you today in your packet with the additional estimates on what we think it would cost and what the savings would be if we chose alternative 2. Be happy to answer any questions.
Well, I'm gonna make the motion there that we move forward with the new building like we promised the communities up there, and that we not move the pier and beam up there. We're already getting replies from the people about that. And I'm gonna make that motion, we move forward, and negative on the pier and beam structure being moved from the shop up there.
Well, I'll state that we did not commit that we would build a new building. We committed to building. So it was not a commitment to a new building, and at $4.2 million, I cannot justify us spending that type of money for that facility when we have at our resources, at our availability, a much cheaper alternative that will serve the same purpose. So why would we spend $4.2 million versus $500,000?
Have you let bid go yet, Larry, to see that it might not come in cheaper?
No, sir, we have not let bids go. However, we have the original estimate from our original contractor.
I suggest we let the bids go and see if it come in any cheaper, and that would not move the pier and beam. That's my motion.
But at 4.2 million, it's not gonna be significantly
Well, you
cheaper.
don't know till you get new bids in, right?
Well, I know it's not gonna be 500,000.
Well,
I know, and it's not gonna be 4 million.
okay, that's my motion.
All right, have a motion by Commissioner Wilson to go ahead with the RFP for Jamestown. Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, well, that motion dies for no second right now. And what I would suggest is that we may revisit this and talk about it in a closed session. If we could do that next time, not this time. Okay. That way, everybody that wasn't here during the workshop gets a chance to hear all the facts and figures, what's going on. I know it's a delay, but it's, you know, and I talked to Miss Hammond myself too. She said they didn't need a Taj Mahal up there, so, and that's what she's told me. So, it's not just gonna be move it up there and leave it set like it is. It's gonna be renovated, remodeled, and made to be nice, and then the bays would be built beside it, and then later on, we would go back and build it better living quarters and stuff as time permitted. So anyway, we'll move past that one, I guess. All right. 13, Chief of Operations report.
Good evening, Commissioners. You have my report in front of you. Just one quick highlight that I'll point to is we've been actively recruiting for class number 7. We've got about 30 candidates that have come through the process. There's still more. They've taken the physical agility, the written exams. They'll be doing panel interviews and the rest of the process moving forward. So all of that's queuing up and moving forward nicely. And a fairly decent response to the recruiting efforts. Those, as I've stated before, are both for full-time 12-hour staff as well as 4896 and our part-time staffing. So we're excited to get that moving and fill up some of the vacancies that exist. The rest of the items on there we've covered at length in previous meetings and/or on the agenda for tonight, so to be considered. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, Chief.
I think so. You got any questions, Charles?
No,
All right. All right. All right. Hang on just a second. I gotta get back to the deal here. All right, 13.2, discuss and consider and take any necessary action on resolution of a fleet accident that occurred on August 8th, 2024.
Commissioners, this was a backing accident that occurred in White House with the troop engine. It did create some damage to a vehicle of a citizen's vehicle in the parking lot. It was in a private parking lot where that occurred. Chief Strickland and Chief Smith both went directly to the scene, took pictures, examined, investigated it. The damage was purely to the vehicle that they bumped into in the tailgate area. So what we have before you is over the $2,000 threshold, and we need approval to pay the bill to restore the citizen, make them whole.
Beyond that, you had conducted an investigation.
Yes.
And was there any failure in policy or procedure?
Failure to have a backer behind them. So we have provided discipline on that.
Okay. There's no reason that we should be hitting anything.
Nope, you need a backer, period.
Was there any damage to the apparatus?
Very minor in nature.
So I'm just assuming there was probably 2 deals of discipline on this, or maybe 3?
It was.
Okay. Okay. Well, gentlemen,
I make the motion that we approve the payment of $2,050.15 to Mike Watson, basically to repair the damage to his vehicle.
have a motion by Commissioner Dominy. We approve the payment of $2,050.15 to Mike Watson upon acceptance of a liability waiver for the repairs of damage caused by an accident on August 8, 2024. Second by Commissioner Wilson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries. Item 14, discuss and consider and take any necessary action on fire chiefs presenting and discussing issues with the board for future action. Art? Nobody here from Art? Okay. Bullard? Chief Riley?
Afternoon.
How are you?
Thank you for your time. It's been a pretty good month. Starting to get into PR season now that the weather's kind of turning nice. So we had the honor of hosting 6 Medal of Honor recipients at the Texas Veterans Military event, and it's quite an undertaking at that event. So we greatly appreciated the help from the ESD and from Chapel Hill Fire, as well as Flint Fire. We were happy to help with the Rose City Try that occurred over at the Boulders and White House last month, or earlier in the month. This week coming up, we have the homecoming parade and bonfire there in Bullard, and we expect to have a pretty good turnout there and be able to work great with the community, especially with the day crew participating with us. And then starting this Friday, we start the fire education with Brook Hill, and then moving on to the ISD next week. And so working closely with the day crew on that as well as Ms. Simmons. As far as training, we have folks enrolled in ISO, fire officer, fire academy, EMT school, driver operator, as well as wildland type 2. So if there's any other questions I can help you with.
So you got a lot of people going, doing a lot of training.
Trying to keep them busy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chapel Hill, Chief Peterson.
We've been pretty busy doing as well in our stuff. We've been doing, with Chapel High School, did a homecoming parade for them as well, and then also we helped them at the homecoming football game. We've been staffing, working them, helping the game as well. Also, we did, like I say, we did help on the Rose City Triathlon. I had, I think, 3 vehicles help on that, so we did support on that. And also, we did the 6th annual 911 tribute honor at the airport. We went out there and assisted on that a little bit as well. And also we did the military parade there in Bullard. Like you said, we helped out on that too as well. And that's a good thing to help out for the military people. I do that every year. It's real well. We also had helped out, and we had a call for our GSAR team on an incident up in Red Springs. We had 3 members went out to try to help find that young boy. And we found him eventually. He was in the city of Tyler, where he was at. I also had 1 member receive his Texas Commission and Driver Operations certification. I also had 1 member finish his structural firefighter, his TCFP, so he received his certification on that as well. Then I had 5 members. We went to last weekend to Russ and to participate in the pumper operation out there in Russ. And we're learning pretty good on some of the stuff there to our shelter water and stuff better too as well. Then also in our department, last month we did the Stop the Bleed as well. And then in September we did our education and airbag deployment for training for education in our department. And also I had, we got 1 member also completing officer training as well. So.
Great report, Chief Peterson. Appreciate you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Flint? Assistant Chief Tate?
He had a child that had a school activity tonight. So in this last month, Flint Gresham added one new member who is already TCFP certified. We're working on getting him up to speed as far as his support certification with SFMA and a few other things. New certifications personnel received were common vehicle rescue awareness and operations, one wildland firefighter, one incident safety officer, 2 support personnel. And Chief Stone just recently completed, I believe, all the requirements for his Fire Officer 1, and we'll be getting that in the system as soon as we're having some issues with SFMA portal right now. They've got another glitch this week, so they're working on that. Events we participated in was the Rose City Triathlon, and the 511 store here in Tyler had a first responder day that was designed for a recruitment event, and so we were set up out there in conjunction with White House doing some recruitment, hand out a couple applications, so we'll see how that pans out for us. We also this month received a $3,000 Forest Service recruitment retention grant that'll be used to buy materials that we can set up at events and hand out materials for that. And last, I just received, as we were sitting here, a signed MOU back from Fire in Texas. This is a project I've been working on for a while for a Fire Instructor 1 class. I'm working on in conjunction with Chief Clanton and Tully, that we're going to have the students do it online through Fire in Texas. I'll teach the skills to them, and then Tully will do their state skills, and this will be a TCFP course. On that, I'm going to ask the board, if need be, for an extension. So 2 of those personnel in that class are my officers, and under the current contract, they were supposed to complete a course this year, but that course has gotten drug out just simply because you can't have a course with 2 people. You have to have enough people to get the course together, and we've really struggled with that this year. So I believe we've got enough to get that course going. I've talked to Chief Riley. I think he's got somebody that's going to sit in on it, and because we're hosting it the way we're doing it, we can really just do it however we want to. And there was a little miscommunication between me and Fire in Texas on that, but we got that worked out, and I've got everything back from them. We're going to get that class rolling immediately. Any questions for me?
The only thing I can say is I went by, going by 511 up there because it was opening day, and I happened to see their stuff and set up out there. That tent is very nice, and
Yeah,
I
Cindy did a
appreciate
really
y'all
good job
getting
on
out
that.
doing recruitment. It's
So-
very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Keith?
So you did mention that you had received a grant for some recruiting materials. I will state that not only you, but anybody else, that if y'all need assistance in getting materials, don't hesitate to ask us. I mean, we've got budget line item for it that we'll be happy to participate in whichever way y'all think is going to be most beneficial to you.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to tap into that, but the Forest Service came out with a new program last year, kind of mid-year, and that $3,000 is kind of there for the taking, so we want to take advantage of the grant money first. But we're definitely going to work on our list and get some additional resources from y'all.
Okay, great, appreciate it. Thank you.
Noonday. Chief Harper. Glad you're here tonight. We hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, lots of overtime.
Yeah.
So currently, we have 19 members on our roster. We have 5 additional who have expressed interest in joining Noonday. We're just waiting for them to turn an application in. We have 8 members who have completed their online portion of the wildland class and just waiting on the field day in October to become wildland certified. So after the wildland field day in October, all 19 members of Noonday will be certified in some form or fashion. We currently have 3 members in EMT class, and we have 5 members that will be starting EMT class in November, and currently 1 member in Fire Academy. Any questions?
It's great work.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're picking up some members, Mel. That's good. Thank you. Yeah, okay. True.
Good evening. As you guys know, the Troop Fire Department will not be re-signing a contract with the ESD this year. With me, I do have communication from my board to you guys, as well as our agreement of separation for you guys to review. So,
Thank you.
White House, Chief Champion.
Down in White House, we've got 1 new member that's got an application from. We got 4 that are in a firefighter 1 course, still continuing that. had the events of the triathlon, had a good turnout, had some ESD people out there with us, which was good. Glad to see that. Then that 5/11 First Responders Day that we went with us in Flint, that event turned out, looked like pretty promising events. The last thing that I've got, I put before my fire department in our last fire meeting, they accepted it effective October the 1st of this year. I'll be stepping down as chief. The group also discussed it, nominated and voted on it. Keith Tate was nominated to step in there as chief when I step out. It's been a good time. I've enjoyed it. But in October, I'll be 70 years old. There is a time somewhere in some way that you gotta enjoy life. You know, I did 63 years working for Brookshire's, I went till I was 62 and retired from Brookshire's, 45 years with them. I'm to the point now that I don't need to learn anymore. I don't want to learn anymore. I want to enjoy my grandkids and enjoy fishing. So it's been a good time. I've enjoyed it and just want to pass that on.
Thank you for your
Yep.
service.
Chief Champion, we appreciate your service. I know when you got on the fire department, I was already on the fire department. And I just say this, there wasn't anybody that worked harder and made more calls when he first got on there, and he was energetic and real interested. And just thank you for your service and all the time you spent. We appreciate it.
Johnny mentioned that and said something about that when I first got on there. I guess probably Johnny, the first 6 years I was on the fire department, we hadn't done nothing about starting the ESD or anything like that. There was big discussion with our board and chiefs about doing pay-per-call to get our guys, and we had 30, 35 guys to get our guys picking up, making more calls. And we had a lot of them that, when it came to a serious call, yes, you could count on them, they'd be there. But, you know, they wanted to look at maybe doing a staffing and paying, because we got a big, back then in them days, we got a big, I think it was $5 a month is what we got for making calls. So after that first 6 years, they used me as an example that if they went to paying us staffing monthly about what it would be, and they all like to have a heart attack when they figured out how many calls I was making a month. Because I was fortunate enough, I had my supervisors at Brookshire's. I was at the Brookshire's in White House. My supervisors that I worked for at Brookshire's there, they knew that if I took off for a fire call, that crew was going to get me loose and back to the store as quick as I can. And I sure wasn't walking out of the store when we had people in the store buying groceries. It was only at slow times. So anyhow, I have enjoyed it. It's been a long doings, but it's time to step down out of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very much.
Thank you. One owner, Chief Allen.
Good afternoon. As you can see, we've been pretty busy as far as calls go. We've been trying to keep a hold of our training. We've had finished up Fire Officer 1 for the second time. We had 2 actually get their EMR National Registry and their Texas Department of Health certification. And we are, I think we've got 4, maybe 5 prepared to go to the wildland training as well, to finish up their wildland certification. Any questions?
Nope. Thank you very much.
Before we move on, Johnny, I wanted to acknowledge 3 of our groups out there, and y'all know that I look a lot at statistics, and tonight, looking at the percent of calls that were made with our volunteers, and Troop had 96% of their calls were made with volunteers. Flint Gresham had 94%, and White House had 78%. Those are our top 3 performers out of everything. And I can't emphasize how important it is that whenever you participate and come to those calls, I mean, it's the force multiplier. It's great to have it, great to see the participation. Understand that everybody can't, but also want to acknowledge those that can. So thank you very much for those of you that, in those departments, or all of you that are able to serve and attend these fires for us.
Right. All righty. Well, I see Nikki has joined us now, so we'll move back to item 11, Community Outreach Coordinator report. So,
Hello, good evening.
yeah, I hope your deal wasn't too bad.
No,
Okay,
my son had a band concert, and you all, this is the perfect place to talk about how important family is, because
Right.
these guys understand it. So I'm excited to be here now, and you guys can see my report. We have had a busy month. We have been participating all throughout the county, from the 9/11 Memorial and Truck Exchange, that partnership that we had with Kilgore College. We were there. Chief Greaser did a phenomenal job in sharing the history of the traditional push-in service, where that came from, and then just the setup and partnership in that day. That was really awesome, and incredibly moving to be there and have them praying over the truck, that we worked on with them. So that was exciting. We've had multiple TIF missed deployments. Some of those guys are back and in the room, so we're excited that they have returned safely. The community is always very engaging on social media when we are sharing that we're serving the state. So I think that they appreciate that, and that we're qualified to send guys to go do that. So that's good. We have been involved in the community. We've got a busy several weeks coming up with fire prevention, Friday night football games. We're there on standby, because the great thing is most of the community is there. So if we're running a call, we're going to be close by. We've enjoyed getting out there, being with those kids. You can see the engagement numbers on our social media, those numbers that have been shown to you. And then, of course, we had our big hit. I don't know if you guys saw the Dalmatian puppies that we brought in, just as a morale booster. And it was a great day to do it, because the county was busy that day. And so to have the guys get off the calls and get the call, hey, Nikki needs you in full uniform. And then, oh, okay, we're getting back with these puppies. So we got to work with a great family on that, bring them in, and just show off the official mascot of the fire service. And if you don't know why the Dalmatian is the official mascot, then it is on our social media as part of Ember's Fun Fire Facts. So we've had a great time.
Thank you.
Okay, I know that was fast.
And just so you'll know, you'll probably be getting a call. Somebody called me about a program for a Rotary Club. I gave them your name, so they'll be contacting you. I don't know when, but
I spoke with them this morning. So one of the things that I know I've been challenged with and have been working to do so is getting in front of community partners. So a lot of our HOAs, meeting with them. They've got meetings coming up, Rotary clubs, different community organizations. So we're speaking with them and then bringing in those career guys that meet with them, so that they can see who their first responders are when they're coming out on a call. And I'm going to throw in a personal attaboy, because I had a personal emergency, family emergency this last week. My family lives in Chapel Hill, and the career guys came over, handled it, were on top of it, and were incredible, and could not have been more appreciative of them.
glad they're all right.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. All right, item 15 will be our closed session. The board will convene in closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074. No action shall be taken while the board is in closed session. Any final action, final decision, or final vote shall be taken after the board reconvenes in open session. And at this time, we are in closed session at 6:54, and I ask everyone to clear the room. wait till everybody gets back in here before we do it. Yep. Well, hopefully we'll get out of here by 9 o'clock. Maybe. All right, we'll return to open session at 8:54 PM. And we'll move into item number 17, discuss and consider an act on countersigning the executed service provider contracts received back from certain volunteer fire departments and take any other action regarding the service provider contracts. And I think, Keith, you wanted to speak on that, is that right?
Sure, I've been nominated by the chief to be the spokesperson on their behalf, so if there's no questions or comments, there's nothing for me to add. If y'all have questions or comments, I'll be happy to go out.
It's up to you, you have 3 minutes to speak if you want. Okay, all right,
I would just,
okay.
I have no idea what y'all's intentions are. I would simply ask that if you're not going to approve the contract with the changes that we requested, that we are granted a 90-day extension to work out the details. I mean, if you'll look at the requests that we made, some of it was contract language cleanup that was omitted, and some of them are legitimate concerns that we have based on things that have happened in the last 12 months that we feel like need to be cleared up. Other than that, that's really all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, we have a motion on that,
We have seen some real improvement overall in the progress towards the adherence to our contracts, and in light of the recent received comments that we received back, that I want to make a motion that we would grant a 90-day extension to the existing terms to allow the parties to review and reconcile those comments that have been received.
okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Domney, we extend the service provider contracts now for 90 days, and then give them time to, yeah, okay.
Review and reconcile, yeah.
Reconcile anything, and have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. So for 90 days, we'll get things worked out.
Keep going under the existing, everything's same, and we'll start working with you guys on comments received.
Okay, all right. Number 18, discuss, consider, and act on making a final board determination of breach in response to the initial notice of breach of contract issued to the Winona Volunteer Fire Department, and take any other action in this regard. So,
I will make the motion that we uphold the initial notice of breach of contract issued to Winona Volunteer Fire Department, and that the fire department should carefully read the cure and respond within 30 days as requested.
okay. All right, have a motion by Commissioner Domney to uphold the initial notice of breach. And that you guys read your corrective actions for that, and have a second?
Yes.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay, and that carries. Number 19, discuss, consider, and act on proposed settlement of affairs and other terms concerning Troop VFD's request separation from Smith County Emergency Services District Number 2. Okay.
Make the motion that we would officially accept the separation and authorize board president to sign the joint resolution proposed by Troop Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Domney to accept the proposed settlement of affairs and other terms concerning Troop VFD's separation from Smith County ESD2 with the authorization of these to sign the separation agreement. Have a second? Second. A second by Commissioner Wilson. Is there any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and that motion carries. Item 20, remarks by presenting officer and/or board members, information, updates, items to be placed on future agendas and future meeting dates, times, and/or locations. For the next 3 months, October, November, and December, the board meetings will be moved to the fourth Friday of those months at 6 p.m. here. And this is just temporary for those 3 months. That way, we can assure we will always hopefully have a quorum here to perform our duties, and we don't get into any trouble, so. Anybody, you have anything, Brent? You have anything, Charles? Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned at 9 p.m.